Hi everyone in YouTube world. I am coming to you guys with a video about something that is very close to my heart, and that is my historical dolls. So I have a white body Samantha, and she is one of two, I believe, white body Samanthas that I own. And I have a Nellie, and she is obviously my only Nellie doll. My husband surprised me with her 1 year, and this was after I had a CYO made after Nellie, that I finally was able to get my hands on an original Nellie doll. So I'm very excited to have a Nellie doll. I do have the backdrop for the historicals, such as Samantha and Molly, but those are the only backdrops I have for the historical dolls. So I figure I wanted to do something this year that kind of showed it off a little bit, since Christmas kind of came and went a little bit faster than I expected it to. And another thing that came fast and went was this advent calendar for 2023. I didn't expect it to sell out. I knew that I wanted a lot of the pieces in this set, so I got it a little bit earlier than I expected to get it. And I'm so glad I did, because it did sell out. And I was just shocked that that happened, because a lot of people were saying that they have a lot of these pieces. A lot of people were saying that they weren't going to buy the 2023 American Girl Advent Calendar, and they would put those videos on YouTube. So I did a video showing that there are ways that you can get around that if you know that there are people who are saying they're not going to buy something, and then all of a sudden they buy it. Which is for another video. But anyway, for those people who obviously did not get the chance to buy this, I do have something for you guys later in the video for you to use in place of this set. But if you have the historical dolls, I do want to show you a way where you can use this backdrop and a piece of the Claudie Angelo's Bakery that's a part of the Claudie line. This is just a little table that has hooks and everything. It's a part of her bakery, but I feel like I can use it for other historical dolls. So I like to be able to use pieces, especially if they are priced very high from American Girl. I really want to be able to use those pieces with other dolls and other doll sets. So because this advent calendar was $50 or more with tax, I do want to show you guys how you can get the most use out of some of these pieces, especially since so many collectors on YouTube discourage buying this set. Because again, their argument, I don't know how sound it was, but their argument was that a lot of these pieces they've already seen in some of American Girl's past sets, which I guess is a fair argument for those people. But I don't know, I still feel like you can get a lot of use out of these sets, such as the advent calendar pieces. So we all know, if you've read Samantha's story, that Samantha loves to watch her cook bake, especially baking around the holiday season. And now that she has Nellie in her life, I'm sure she wants to really make sure that Nellie gets the full concept of helping out around Christmas season, and not just eating all the goodies, but actually helping and doing charity work. So we all know that Nellie started off as an orphan, and like little orphan Annie, she was adopted by a rich family. So Nellie might be a little bit of a snob nowadays. So maybe Samantha has to show her how to kind of give back. So Nellie now has to take part in some of the festivities of baking. And so since I have the Tyson's Corner backdrop here, instead of me showing Samantha and Nellie in the kitchen area, I can show how Nellie and Samantha are going into the Tyson's ice cream parlor and maybe buying something that the ice cream parlor might sell to bring back to Samantha's house. So if you guys missed out on this advent calendar, I will show you a good substitute for some of the pieces. Okay, so in place of the advent calendar items, I ended up going to the dollar spot at Target, and they had a surplus of these from the holiday season. So I just knew that these colors worked really well with Samantha's ice cream parlor. They're like sherbet almost colors, sherbet or sorbet colors. And they have like a really just nice size to them. So I felt like they would be perfect for my 18-inch dolls to set up in the ice cream parlor. So I got a good amount of them. And the funny thing was, this is a funny story. So if you guys ever get caught in Target with, people like this, you can kind of do what I did, but I don't recommend doing this just out of spite. But I was purposely shopping for these from the dollar spot, and I didn't want them to break on their way home because these are made out of glass and they're very fragile. So I didn't see anyone in line, and I was waiting. I didn't really want to be rung up either. They only had like one person to check everyone out, but she was with a customer and they had like 4 or 5 empty self-checkout machines. So I ended up doing the self-checkout. Again, nobody was in line. It was just me. And so I knew, because I didn't want these fragile pieces to break, I ended up getting like individual tissue paper or butcher paper and some small little Target bags. And I individually like wrapped each item, each tiny little fragile item. And before I knew it, I think I was on my 3rd item and ringing up my 3rd item before I saw a line forming. And there were like other people doing the self-checkout. And I could hear this one lady who was standing in line waiting for a self-checkout. She just was being really obnoxious about, how long it was taking all of us to check ourselves out. And for some reason, she was like looking at some of my items, and she had the nerve to like suck in her breath. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard what that sounds like, but it's like she wanted everyone to know that she was annoyed. And so she was like, like making it so obvious. And so I was annoyed that she was doing that, but I did not want to show that I was annoyed. So I just took even longer wrapping these individual things up. So it made her have to wait even longer. And I'm thinking, instead of expecting me to hurry up and check out, why don't you go and breathe around the other people who are taking a long time to use the self-checkout? But for whatever reason, she was like trying to use the checkout that I was in, if that makes any sense. That she wanted to be in my spot to check out instead of, badgering someone else in another self-checkout spot. So I don't recommend you guys doing that purposely just to annoy other people, but I feel like if you want these items and you pay a good amount for, your goods and services. So even though these were $1 a piece, I was a paying customer. So I felt like I had every right to take my time and make sure that each and every single one of these things that I purchased made it home unharmed. So that's my little story of how I ended up buying these things at Target. So obviously, Samantha, if you guys have read her story, Samantha loves peppermint candies. And so since we are in an ice cream parlor, since we're doing the setup for the ice cream parlor, you can set your ice cream parlor up any way you want using some of these dollar pieces that I ended up getting from Target. And they're perfectly doll size. So I could see Nellie and Samantha trying to buy these peppermints just so they could take them home. And since we have an overstock of peppermint, you can even put them down below as if you're just, you're selling these. Another thing that Samantha loves is gingerbread. She loves her gingerbread men. So they could also be selling gingerbread men on top of the peppermint cookies. So again, you have like a little area where not only can you buy candy and you can buy ice cream, but you can also buy these things to go with the ice cream. Back in the day, they probably loved sugar plums, sweetened fruit. So I ended up getting a surplus of sugar plums as well. So again, these are things that you can add to the ice cream parlor, if you want a very nice looking backdrop for your dolls, or you want to interact with your dolls in a way where you can set up your own scenes. And, if you missed out on the $50 advent calendar, all these things were well under $50. So that's another way that you can save money. Now, as far as how you guys check all this stuff out when you finally get to the Target checkout line, that's up to you. If you want to individually wrap these things so they don't get broken, that's something that is your prerogative. You can very well take your time and wrap these things. If other people get annoyed, that's their problem. So that's my story. I knew that I wanted these things for my collection, and I didn't care. I didn't care if I was annoying certain people by being a good customer, paying for these items and checking them out, which is exactly my right as a customer. So that was my story. So every time I look at these items, do I think about the woman who was really annoyed that I was buying all of these items and wrapping them individually? Of course. But I mean, I'm still happy that I did it. That was my right as a customer, as a paying customer, to take my time and make sure that my merchandise made it home safely. Okay, and here is my CYO Nellie. So obviously, if you guys wanted to make this into a modern backdrop, you would obviously have to hide the 1904 calendar, which I have my modern day Nellie hiding. She's standing right in front of it, so you don't really know what year this is. I've seen old-fashioned ice cream parlors that look like this in modern times. And so I really think that you could do a modern setup as well with some of those Target pieces. And again, since I separated these into modern pieces versus historical pieces, you can finally use some of these pieces for your modern dolls. And another piece that you could use for your historical dolls is you could pretend that Nellie is buying an old-fashioned iced cookie at the Tyson's ice cream parlor. So again, you have a modern setting for your Target dollar spot items, and you have a historical setting for your dollar spot items. Okay, another thing you guys could do for a modern day setup is I do have the World by Us dolls, Yvette and I also have McKenna or McKenna. And so Yvette could be here doing some community service where she could be selling these things to make money for her community center, because the World by Us dolls is featured in an urban environment. And I think Yvette's story is that her mother is an African American doctor and she has a Caucasian father. And so she is obviously helping her mother out when it comes to giving back to the community that they come from, and, you know, making sure that everyone respects each other, as all communities should. And so she is doing her part in, you know, doing her little setup and fundraising and charity work. So just like Nellie and Samantha would be doing charity work, a lot of people who have parents who are doctors, lawyers, you know, any profession that makes a lot of money, a lot of people do charity work or give back to the community. So I think Yvette's story plot could be very similar, where she is giving back to the community and she is in the ice cream parlor. So, so this is how I have Yvette dressed, and this, you know, sweater is very pretty on my Yvette. I think Yvette is a very pretty doll, and she represents the biracial community very well. So again, with the Target dollar spot items, you could even do a display for your World by Us dolls, and it would be perfectly fine. Another thing, in my family, I have certain members who are part of a sorority, and they're part of a Black sorority. So some of the more popular Black sororities are Deltas and AKAs. So if you noticed, if someone in your family is an AKA, this sweater set would be perfect because their colors are pink and green, and the Delta's colors are red and white. So I could easily see this as a sorority charity function or a community service, because AKAs and Deltas do a lot of community service, representing the African American community and representing African American sororities from HBCUs, historically Black colleges. So I'm kind of sad that this sweater sold out, because when I saw this sweater, I instantly thought AKA. And I wanted to get two, one for McKenna and one for Yvette. But I bought this early, and before I knew it, when I was trying to buy a second one, it sold out. So unfortunately, I only have one of these sweaters. So I figure maybe Yvette could represent the Delta sorority, and this doll right here could represent some of the members of my family who are a part of the AKA sorority. So that's another way that you can use these items for your backdrops, especially since Christmas is over. Maybe you could start planning for next year, and when you buy buy everything that's left over from Christmas from this year on a sale or at a good discounted price, you can start thinking about how you want to set your future scenes up. Okay, and in keeping up with everything that I got this year, I also ended up getting this Jenny outfit, Just Add Sprinkles outfit from American Girl's collaboration with Jenny's Ice Cream. So instantly when I saw this, I thought, okay, I want Harper to be in this outfit, because Harper is one of my cutest dolls, or one of my cuter dolls. And I just thought this outfit looked extremely young and juvenile, but I thought that it looked really cute. I mean, it's cute for a doll, right? And if you're a doll collector, why wouldn't you want your dolls to look cute? So I'm going to change Harper into this. So again, if you have this backdrop, this historical backdrop. You could have Harper representing the Jenny's Ice Cream company in collaboration with the Tyson's Ice Cream Parlor. And she could be helping out, when it comes to maybe some fundraising or charity work in the community that you live in or that you represent. Okay, so here we go. I have Harper Cooper in this pretty outfit. And if you like fabrics, then you will love the skirt on this outfit. If you love details, and if you love prints, and if you love vibrant colors,